What if I told you that a whole empire didn't fall because of a big war, or a powerful enemy, but because of one person's choices? Not soldiers. Not battles. Just someone very close to the king. And by the end of this story, you'll understand how one queen didn't just hurt her husband, she helped bring down his entire kingdom. At the beginning, their story looked like something straight out of a fairy tale. There was a powerful king who ruled a huge and successful empire. And by his side was a smart, confident, and beautiful queen. People believed they were the perfect team. Together, they had everything: wealth, power, respect, and a future that looked bright. Everyone in the kingdom trusted them. People would say, as long as the king and queen are together, nothing can go wrong. But behind the palace walls things were very different. Because power has a strange effect on people. It can make you stronger, but it can also make you want more. And sometimes, wanting more can lead you down a dangerous path. This queen was not someone who just wanted to sit quietly, wear a crown, and smile at people. She was clever. She paid attention. She understood how power worked. And deep inside, she didn't just want to stand next to the king. She wanted to be the one making the decisions. Now, she didn't rush into anything. She didn't argue or demand control. Instead, she started slowly. She observed everything. She learned who the king trusted, who he listened to, and what worried him the most. Think of it like a chess game. She wasn't making big moves, yet she was studying the board. And once she understood everything, she began to act. But here's what made her so dangerous. She didn't use force. She used words. Small, quiet, simple words. She would say things like, "Do you really trust that advisor?" Or, "I heard something strange about that general." Nothing too obvious. Nothing too direct. Just little thoughts planted in the king's mind. And those thoughts started to grow. Imagine someone told you your best friend might be lying to you. Even if you don't believe it at first, a small part of you might start wondering. That's exactly what happened to the king. At first, he ignored it. But the queen kept repeating these ideas, slowly and carefully. And over time, the king began to doubt the people around him. Now here's where things started to change in a big way. The king stopped trusting his advisors. The people who had helped him build the empire, the ones who gave him good advice, the ones who protected the kingdom. He started pushing them away. Some were removed from their positions. Some were ignored. Some were completely cut off. And the worst part? They were loyal. They had done nothing wrong. But once trust is broken even a little, it's hard to fix. Now imagine a strong castle. It stands tall because it has strong walls, strong pillars, and a solid foundation. But what happens if you start removing those pillars one by one? Even if the castle still looks fine from the outside, it's getting weaker every second. That's exactly what was happening to the empire. And while this was going on, the queen made her next move. Since the king no longer trusted his old advisors, he needed new people around him. And guess who helped choose them? The queen. She brought in people she trusted. People who listened to her. People who would support her decisions. Slowly, the king's inner circle changed. And without realizing it, the king was no longer surrounded by people who truly cared about the kingdom. He was surrounded by people who cared about the queen. Now things became even more dangerous. Because when someone has power but no one questions them, they can make mistakes. Big ones. The queen began influencing decisions about the kingdom. Money was spent in the wrong places. Important plans were rushed or poorly thought out. Alliances were weakened. And slowly the empire began to lose its strength. But here's the scary part. There were no big warning signs. No sudden disaster. Everything seemed normal at first. But underneath everything was falling apart. It was like a tree that looks strong on the outside but is slowly rotting on the inside. Now you might be thinking, why didn't the king realize what was happening? The answer is simple. He trusted her. He loved her. He believed she was helping him. And when you trust someone deeply, it becomes very hard to see when they are leading you in the wrong direction. Even when others tried to warn him, he didn't listen. Because accepting the truth would mean accepting something painful, that the person closest to him might be the reason everything was going wrong. And that's not easy for anyone. Not even a king. But no matter how long you ignore a problem, it doesn't disappear. Eventually, the cracks started to show. The empire became weaker. Leaders were confused. Decisions didn't make sense. Enemies began to notice. And when they saw weakness, they took advantage of it. Now the empire was in real danger. And this time, there was no strong foundation left to protect it. Everything that once held the kingdom together had already been broken. So when pressure came, the empire couldn't handle it. It didn't fall all at once. It didn't collapse in a single moment. It slowly unraveled. Step by step. Piece by piece. Until finally, there was nothing left. The great empire was gone. Now here's the twist. Not everyone remembers the queen as a villain. Some people say she was smart. Some say she was powerful. Some even say she was brilliant. Because in a way she got what she wanted. She gained influence. She controlled decisions. She became one of the most powerful people in the empire. But think about it for a moment. Was it really worth it? She gained power, but lost everything else. The empire was destroyed. The king was broken. And her name became part of a story people would always question. And that's the real lesson here. This isn't just a story about kings and queens. It's about choices. It's about influence. And it's about how the people around you can shape your decisions in ways you don't even notice. Sometimes, the biggest problems don't come from enemies far away. They come from the people closest to you. And sometimes, small actions like planting doubt or making selfish choices can grow into something much bigger than you ever expected. So always be careful about who you trust. And always think about the impact of your choices. Because even one person can change everything. At the end of the day, this story teaches us that true strength isn't just about power, it's about wisdom, trust, and making the right decisions. And if you enjoyed this story, you'll definitely love the next one, where one small moment changed history forever.